Have you ever thought that you're useless, or maybe there's not even a place for you here in this earth? Well, I'm here to tell you why that's just BS. Hi, everyone. My name's Felix, and I'm here to help you expand your consciousness and simplify your life by living with less stress and more joy. Today, we're going to talk about you and the role that you play in our world. First off, let's talk about the obvious. Everybody in this planet, every single person is unique. No one is ever the same. Everyone has their own set of experiences, their beliefs, their perspectives that are all going to be different from the next person standing right next to them, or even the person they grew up with. And what this means is that everyone has their own special, unique idea to contribute. A lot of the times we're growing up saying that person's different. We don't want them around here. We need everyone to be the same. But honestly, that's BS. Diversity is to be celebrated. People who come from different backgrounds, people who are raised different ways, they all have their own special things to contribute to whatever you're doing. Like, how many times have you looked at a problem and you're trying to solve it and you're trying to solve it, but you always just get stuck? But the one guy just comes over and says, "Hey, have you tried this?" He just comes off the top of his mind and you try it and it instantly works. I can't tell you how many times that's worked for me. It's really just like there's a big puzzle and everyone has their different pegs and their different slots. And who knows where your slots are going to fill or where the pegs will fill in your slots too. This is really important because if you believe that there is no place for you, there always is. Maybe you just haven't found it yet. Maybe you haven't been putting yourself out there enough to be able to get yourself in that position, but there always is a place for you. The world isn't just the way you believe it is. The world exists in so many different ways at the same times. I feel like we're all conditioned because we grow up watching movies and watching TV, but the world doesn't always work like that. Anything you can think of can probably be happening in the world right now. Maybe there's a guy somewhere who trains cats to stand on top of each other like someone would train dogs. Maybe there's a guy who has a possum farm where he teaches them tricks like dogs. That's not something you're going to see on TV or movies or anything. You hear about all these wild stories in the news, like some guy sat in a lawn chair and held himself up by like 500 balloons and actually went on a ride and had a pretty neat experience. It didn't work out well for him, but yeah, that's not something you're going to see in a movie, and that stuff does happen in real life. Everything's happening at the same time right now too. All right, let's get back to you though. Where do you fit in the world? That's really something you're going to have to feel out. No one will be able to tell you. It's just something you're going to have to get to through your own efforts and your experiences, your beliefs and your perspective. Think of all the people in the world who, just because they decided to stand up for themselves, they made a gigantic change. Rosa Parks, for example, she decided to stand up for herself and sit in the front of the bus when she was told to go sit in the back. And all because of this, she sparked a nationwide movement for the end of segregation and equality for everyone. And that's so beautiful. Anyone can do this kind of thing too. Let's look at another person. Katherine Johnson was a mathematician back in the day who worked at NASA, and she was almost single-handedly responsible for a lot of the calculations that contributed to the Apollo 11 moon landing. They made a movie about her actually called Hidden Figures. I watched the movie in theaters and it was an incredible movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But that's just a quick recap on how one person standing in their own can make a huge difference for the rest of the world. I'm not saying you standing up for yourself is going to make a gigantic difference in the world, but I'm just not saying it's not possible. All you have to do is take a stand in your own frame and not be afraid to be yourself and stand up for what you believe in. Let's talk about self-doubt and judgments. These can always get in the way very hard. If you look at my first video, we talked about the mind and the ego. The mind is really good at trying to throw self-doubts at us and hold us down so that we don't jump into the unknown. We don't have the ability to get hurt. We get to stand where we're comfortable. But if you just realize that this is just the mind trying to keep us safe, appreciate the mind for doing its duty to try to keep us safe, because that is an act of love, although it is primarily a negative thing trying to hold us back. The thoughts that, like, I'm not good enough, what if I fail, other people are going to judge me, I'm going to embarrass myself. None of this is actually real. You're going to fail, and that's okay. Failure is a stepping stone to achieving your goals. You will find very, very, very few people in this life who have claimed they've never failed before. Everyone fails, and the real challenge is just to choose to get back up and keep going. Have you ever tried something new and it immediately doesn't work out? And then you just say, okay, I'm not good at this. I'm going to not try this anymore. And then you don't think about it anymore. But there's something you really, really want to do. There's something you super duper want to do. And you try it and you fail and you get back up and you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you fail and you keep doing it. And then you realize 3 months down the line, hey, you're super good at it now compared to when you started and you weren't very good and you were failing more often than not. That's all it takes is just the choice to keep going. And that's really all it is. The choice to say, maybe I am good enough. Maybe this thought that I'm not good enough isn't real, and maybe I can do whatever I want and just choose to keep going. And here's the thing, small actions really can ripple out to much larger outcomes. Like if you like let's say you're walking down the street, you see a person and you say, "Hey man, I like your shirt." Who knows? Maybe the entire time that was the only shirt they had because they had to do laundry and they say the shirt sucks, everyone's gonna hate me, no one likes me, I'm ugly. You say, "Hey man, I like your shirt." Suddenly everything shifts in their mind and they're saying, wow, maybe this shirt actually isn't bad. Maybe I do look good. Maybe I can feel comfortable in my own skin. You really have no idea what anyone is going through, what anyone's thinking. The smallest impact can have such a large outcome. For example, there's a story about a man was walking on a beach and he sees 1,000 starfish just washed up on the beach. And there's a kid who's throwing the starfish back in the sea one at a time. And the man says, "Hey, what are you doing? You're not going to make a difference throwing in one at a time." So the kid throws a starfish, takes a starfish, throws it in the water, and says, "I made a difference to that one." Helping one person at a time really can inspire them to go on to help other people too. And that's beautiful because I don't know, if you look around, typically you don't see very much love. You don't see very much people caring for other people, people helping. It's definitely there and it's very present. From what I've seen, the overall is people looking out for themselves and trying to push others down to get higher. That's what we're made to look at all the time, and that's what people focus on a lot. But if you can just reach out and help one person, maybe they'll have the strength and the courage to help the next person, and that can ripple on. And who knows how many people it'll reach out by the end of that. So this is where action comes into play, where you take the courage to step up and stand in your own frame and embrace your own individuality and pursue what makes you feel alive. Find what you love, find your passion, and work towards it. Take actions that involve pushing that forward. Like, I love talking about this stuff right here. I've been studying it for about 7 years now, and I'm actually really excited to start working on these. I have so many self doubts and self judgments about this, but I understand it's just the mind trying to stop me from reaching out into the unknown. The only thing to do is to take the step forward and to keep taking one step at a time. So, is there something that's been on your mind that you've been wanting to do? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about it. I love to hear our diversity. I love to hear the difference between perspectives, people's experiences, the way they grew up, how they feel. I love all of that stuff. Don't be afraid to share. No one's going to judge you here. And if they do, I mean, who cares? Who's judging you? That's also a pretty important point. I was worried about being cringe, but to be cringe means you have to act towards a certain state of being, the way people want you to be. But who's asking you to be that way? Is it people who are actively involved in the path you're trying to take, or is it people who are doing nothing with their lives, working jobs they hate, and trying to keep you down in that vibration with them? Basically, only you can play your role, and the world needs you. There's a place for you, and there always will be. You just have to take the courage to step into it. Thank you, everyone. My name is Felix. I plan to do many more of these. This is number 3. This is the first one I actually did without a script. ChatGPT helped me write the first 2, and that was really cool. But I want to take it into my own hands and come from the heart. I really feel like that's the best way to go about this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down what you want to work on, and I'll definitely make sure to respond to every comment. I love you guys. Thank you. You have a great day. See you later.